First story. My older son's girlfriend cheated on him with my younger son. And I supported them, told my older son to move on and accept his ex as his sil and part of his family, and then disowned him when he refused to attend his brother's wedding. Now I regret my actions. I 50M don't want advice. I'm not looking for sympathy either. I just need to write this down because I can't keep choking on it anymore. Maybe someone else out there needs to hear this too. My wife died 17 years ago. Cancer. She was the kindest woman I've ever known. The boys were 9 and 6 when she passed. Ethan, the older one, was always quiet even before she got sick. But after she died, he completely shut down. Ryan, the younger one, was different. He cried, yeah, but he bounced back quicker. He threw himself into school, sports, and friend groups. Teachers loved him. I guess I gravitated towards that. I didn't mean to favor him. I didn't think I was doing it. But now, with hindsight and a big fat void where both my sons used to be, I can't pretend anymore. Ethan was quiet. He wasn't needy, and he never demanded attention. He did okay in school, kept to himself, and never brought trouble. Ryan was loud, charming, and smart as hell. I was proud of both, but Ryan, I connected with him easier. Maybe because he reminded me of my wife. Maybe because I didn't know how to reach Ethan, and Ryan was just easier to talk to. Whatever it was, I see now that I didn't try hard enough with Ethan. Their relationship wasn't great growing up. A lot of tension. I always thought it was just sibling rivalry or a personality clash. I tried not to interfere too much because I figured they'd grow out of it. Big mistake. Fast forward to about 5 years ago. Ethan's 24 and Ryan's 21. Ethan brings a girl over one evening, Lena. Beautiful, sharp, a little shy but warm. You could tell Ethan was crazy about her. That night, for the first time in I don't know how long, Ethan and I sat in the garage drinking beers and actually talking. He was buzzed, smiling, and relaxed, and he pulled out a ring. He told me he was planning to propose to Lena in a couple of months. She said she made him feel safe. I remember that moment like a photograph in my head. His voice cracked when he said it. I had never seen him vulnerable like that, and I felt like we'd finally connected. About 3 months later, everything went to hell. Ethan went totally dark. Didn't answer my calls or texts for a week. Then one night he showed up at the house, looking like a shell. He didn't say much at first, just asked if Ryan was home. But before I could say anything, Ryan walked in, and suddenly it was chaos. Yelling, shoving, screaming. That's how I found out Ethan had walked in on Lena and Ryan together. In his apartment. In his bed. It didn't even make sense at first. I just stood there frozen while they screamed at each other. Lena wasn't there, but Ryan tried to talk. Ethan wasn't having it. He just kept shouting. You knew. You knew how I felt about her. You saw the ring. And Ryan just kept saying, it wasn't like that. It just happened. We didn't mean to hurt you. They fought. And then Ethan walked out and didn't come back. The next day, Ryan sat me down. He told me he and Lena hadn't planned anything, it just happened. They started talking more after Ryan ran into her on campus, and things escalated. He said Lena felt like Ethan never let her in, that he was emotionally closed off, and that's why things ended before she and Ryan got involved. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't want to blame either of them completely, but I couldn't deny the betrayal. Still, I didn't handle it well. I told Ryan I didn't approve, but I wouldn't disown him. Lena reached out too, apologized to me, and said she never meant to hurt Ethan. I told her I appreciated her honesty. I thought maybe we could all somehow move on. When Ethan finally came back to talk, I told him what Ryan and Lena had said. That they were sorry. That it wasn't planned. That maybe there was more to the story. That maybe he could try to understand. He exploded. He called Ryan a snake. Called Lena worse. Accused me of always taking Ryan's side, of never standing up for him. He said he opened up to me once in his life, showed me the ring, and this is how I repaid him. By trying to explain away the betrayal. I told him he was being unfair. That I was trying to keep the family together. And then I told him to leave. That if he was going to keep living in the past and throwing poison around, maybe it was better if he stepped away until he cooled off. So he did. 6 months went by. Ryan and Lena got engaged. I didn't love it, but it was happening, and I was tired of trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. I told Ryan he should invite Ethan, even just as a gesture. Ryan said he already tried, but Ethan told him he'd call the cops if he ever showed up again. Still, I reached out. I called Ethan and told him I understood his pain, but maybe it was time to let go. He picked up. And at first, it was calm. Tense, but calm. He told me he was managing. Working. Seeing someone, maybe. Then I brought up the wedding. He changed instantly. His voice broke. He said I didn't understand a thing. That watching his brother marry the woman who tore him apart wasn't something he could ever get over. He said Ryan didn't just betray him, he destroyed him. And I was there, nodding along, acting like it was just a sad little accident. Then he started crying, and I snapped. I told him to stop sulking. That Lena was going to be part of the family whether he liked it or not. That he needed to grow up, move on, and find someone else. That maybe if he'd been a little less emotionally closed off, she wouldn't have left him. Yeah, I said that. He went dead quiet, walked to the door, opened it. And then he said, "Get out. Don't ever come back." I said, "Fine. You're out of the will, then." He didn't flinch. Just closed the door. That was the last time I saw him. Didn't show up to the wedding. Didn't text. Didn't call. 7 months after that, he was gone. He changed his number and moved out of the apartment I knew. I didn't even know where he went until 2 years later, when a mutual family friend said they saw him in another state, working at some small company. Apparently doing well. No social media, no contact. Meanwhile, Ryan got married. I stood by him. Lena seemed happy. Ryan seemed proud. But I knew it was a mess under the surface. They rushed into it, trying to prove it wasn't some dirty mistake. Trying to make it legitimate. Like the wedding would fix how it started. They lasted less than 2 years. Ryan cheated. Different girl, different affair. This time, Lena packed up and left. Filed for divorce immediately. She cut me off too. Didn't say anything, just blocked my number. Ryan lost it. He called me every day for a week. Screaming, crying, blaming everyone but himself. Then he turned it on me, said I never supported him like I did Ethan. That I was judging him, punishing him for the past. I didn't have the energy to argue. I told him I wasn't going to defend him cheating on his wife after everything. That shut him down. One last F you, and then silence. It's been over a year now. Haven't heard from him since. Now it's just me. Both my sons gone. One cut me off because I failed him when he needed a father. The other cut me off because I stopped enabling him. I think about Ethan almost every day. Wonder what his life is like now. Wonder if he ever forgave me, even just a little. I doubt it. I remember the look in his eyes when I threw his pain back at him like it was his fault. Like he asked for it. I've replayed that garage conversation so many times the night he showed me the ring. The way his voice shook. How proud he was. That was the last time he ever trusted me. And I ruined it. He didn't need me to fix anything. He needed me to be angry for him. To stand with him. To see him. Instead, I tried to be neutral. Tried to make peace. Tried to act like we could just go back to normal, when there was no going back. And I said things, cruel things. Things no father should ever say to a son who's already bleeding. I blamed him. Called him closed off. Made excuses for the people who hurt him. Then I told him he was out of the will, like that was some kind of punishment, like he hadn't already lost everything. I thought I was keeping the family together. All I did was drive everyone away. There's no bow on this. No lesson. I don't even know if I deserve forgiveness, or if it would matter. The damage is done. My house is quiet. No wedding photos. No grandkids. No birthdays. Just silence. And guilt. I don't expect anyone to reach out. I'm not asking for advice. I just needed to say it. Needed to stop pretending I was the victim. I wasn't. I was the reason. I lost both of my sons, and it's my own damn fault. Comments. Comment 1. So your son gets stabbed in the back by his own brother and girlfriend, and your reaction was, well, things happen. Let's all be adults here. You watched him crumble, and then basically told him to suck it up and attend their wedding. That's wild. Honestly, it feels like you never really saw him. You only noticed the loud one, the shiny one. And when the quiet one screamed in pain for once in his life, you told him to stop whining. Now you're shocked he slammed the door in your face. Not sure what you expected. Comment 2. Yeah, you messed up. Badly. But I'll give you this, you're owning it without excuses, which is more than most. You didn't defend Ethan when it actually counted. You tried to play diplomat in a moment where he needed a damn father in his corner. That grow up and move on moment. Probably the nail in the coffin. People don't forget that stuff. If you ever want a chance of hearing from him again, don't chase forgiveness. Don't explain. Just acknowledge what you did without softening it. Maybe write him something honest and leave it at that. What he does with it is up to him. But don't stay silent and hope time fixes it. It won't. Comment 3. I don't feel bad for you. This is what happens when you pick favorites and call it trying your best. Your son showed you his whole heart once, and when it got stomped on, you basically shrugged. Then you had the audacity to say she was going to be part of the family, no matter what, like he didn't even matter. Of course he left. I would have too. Now you're alone because the golden boy turned out to be a mess, and the one you ignored finally walked away for good. This didn't happen overnight. You just didn't notice until it was too late. Update. I read the comments. I don't blame a single one of you. I deserved every harsh word. I wrote that post because I couldn't carry it anymore, but reading what people had to say cracked something open in me. I don't want to defend myself, but I owe some clarity. Some people asked why I stood by Lena when she cheated, why I accepted her apology, yet didn't show that same support for Ethan when he was falling apart. It's a good question. One I've been asking myself a lot. Truth is, when Lena came to me after the whole thing came out, she didn't make excuses. She cried. She said she was ashamed. She said she regretted everything. And in my messed up head, I thought that meant she deserved a second chance. I thought forgiveness was the mature thing to do. But with Ethan, when he cried, when he shouted, when he broke down, I didn't see it as vulnerability. I saw it as drama, overreaction. Because he'd always been the quiet one, stoic, controlled. I didn't know how to process him being anything else. But the real reason, I didn't want to lose both my sons. And at that point, Ryan was still talking to me. I think I clung to that. I told myself I was being fair, but I wasn't. I was choosing the one who still wanted me around. I know people think I only started feeling this guilt after Ryan went no contact too. But the truth is, it started way earlier. When I was sitting at that wedding, watching Ryan and Lena say their vows. It felt wrong. I smiled through it, took the pictures, gave a toast. But inside, I felt hollow. Ethan should have been the one getting married. Maybe not to her, but at least in a world where he wasn't betrayed by the two people closest to him. I've had a lot of time to think about my role as a father. I wasn't abusive in the traditional sense. I didn't hit them. I didn't yell much. I put food on the table and kept a roof over their heads. But I see now that emotional neglect can be just as damaging. Ethan was the one who always did his own laundry, packed his own lunches, and never asked for help with homework. I took that as independence. What it really was resignation. He knew asking wouldn't change anything. Ryan, on the other hand, I bent over backwards for. Drove him to every game, stayed up editing his essays, and helped him decorate his dorm. I never thought I was playing favorites, I just told myself Ryan needed more. But maybe Ethan just learned not to need anything, because I wasn't giving it. There are little things I remember now that make my stomach turn. Like how when Ryan got an award at school, I framed it. When Ethan quietly got into a good college, I just said, "Nice job." When Ethan came home late from work one night, and I asked if he had dinner, he said no. And I told him to microwave leftovers. If Ryan had said the same, I would have ordered him takeout. That's what I did. 1,000 tiny slights that told Ethan he wasn't the one I cherished. And he still tried. He still brought me Father's Day cards, still invited me to his graduation, and still showed me that damn ring. And I spat in his face. Ryan grew up knowing he could do no wrong. That I'd fix things for him. That I'd always be in his corner. And when Lena left him, and I didn't rush to defend him, it shocked him. For the first time, I didn't clean up the mess. And he hated me for it. The irony is, they both ended up doing well for themselves. Ethan's got a stable job, probably still in software. A friend of his from back in high school told me he's respected in his field. Ryan is working in finance. Looks like he's doing fine too, career-wise. I take comfort in that. At least they won't struggle like I did growing up. But money isn't the win here. It's the kind of men they became. Ethan, despite everything I did to him, turned out kind. I don't know for sure, but the way people speak about him tells me enough. The few mutuals who know him say he's reserved, thoughtful, and puts in the work. He didn't let bitterness make him cruel. He just chose to cut off the people who hurt him. That was his boundary. I respect it now. Ryan. He got used to being the center of the world. And when he wasn't anymore, he folded. That's on me. I built him like that. I made him think love was automatic, regardless of behavior. That's not how life works. And he found out the hard way. As for me, I haven't dated since their mom died. People find that strange. I just never had the interest. She was my person. I poured everything into raising the boys after we lost her. The problem is, I poured it all into one of them and left the other running on fumes. I'm retired now. Alone. No wife. No sons. I get why. I accept it. I won't reach out to Ethan again. Not because I don't care, but because I finally understand that caring isn't enough. He made it clear what he needed. Distance. Peace. A life where I'm not part of the noise. He's earned that. Same with Ryan. If he wants to come back, he knows where I am. But I'm not chasing him. I enabled him for too long. If he wants to be better, that's something he has to figure out without me steering the wheel. For now, I'm just sitting with it. Living with the consequences I created. Trying not to rewrite the past to make myself feel better. I did a lot of damage. Not because I hated my kids, but because I didn't pay attention to what love should look like. I'm staying out of their lives. It's the one thing I can do right. Second story. My wife's single friend kissed me on the lips after I helped her with her child. I confessed to my wife, but she is still friends with her. TLDR. My wife's best friend kissed me during a lapse in judgment, and I haven't told my wife yet. This happened on Friday, and I've taken the weekend to process it. But I still don't know what to do. I somehow ended up kissing my wife's best friend, who we'll call Amy. Also, this is a throwaway account, as my main is too identifiable. Some backstory. On Friday, Amy needed someone to pick up her 3-year-old from daycare since she was working late and had a date planned. I didn't know about the date at the time. Amy is a single mom who left her abusive ex not long after their kid was born and is still involved in ongoing custody and abuse cases in court. My wife and I have been helping with childcare since the breakup, as Amy's ex and his family are apparently unreliable, and her own parents seem to have a similar attitude. We often help with daycare pickups or weekend babysitting, especially since Amy works odd shifts at the hospital. I spend more time with the child because I work a regular 9-5, and my manager is more relaxed than my wife's crazy schedule and boss. None of this has ever been an issue. In fact, it's helped my wife and me prepare for having our own child someday and understand the work that goes into parenting. We also know Amy is going back to school in the fall to study healthcare and will likely need continued support with childcare. Our friends have pointed out that I have been playing dad for a child that's not mine, and this is what changed my wife's and my minds on actually wanting our own kids. Friday, I picked up the kid from daycare after work and stopped for groceries before heading home to pick up my wife and go to a friend's place for game night. They're also great with having the kid around. Around 8 p.m., Amy texted my wife to say she was on her way to pick up the kid. When she arrived, she looked exhausted. I packed up the kid's things and carried him to the car. While swapping the car seat back into Amy's car, we made small talk about her day. That's when she mentioned her date had flaked. He found out from a friend that she had a kid and hadn't told him. This isn't the first time it's happened. My wife has told me about similar situations, and once, Amy's ex even harassed one of her dates who was likely a great fit 3 dates in. From what I understand, Amy prefers to disclose that she has a child in person rather than over text, as it is likely a touchy subject. She started crying, so I buckled the kid in and turned back to comfort her. Being the socially awkward penguin that I am, I didn't know how to handle the situation. I awkwardly patted her on the head, which felt wrong, so I offered a hug. During the hug, Amy looked up and kissed me. I froze. By the time I processed what had happened, she had pulled away and said she should get home to bed. I was stunned and didn't know what to do, so I went back inside and continued game night. I told my wife that Amy's date had flaked. I know Amy caught her up on the details of the failed date on Saturday, because my wife spilt the tea, but there was no mention of the hug or kiss. I still haven't told my wife about the kiss, and I'm not sure what to do. Part of me thinks I should tell her, but I worry she'd lose a friend over what I believe was a lapse in judgment on Amy's part. And yes, I'm aware I'll get my fair share of judgment from Reddit, and from my wife for not telling her right away. I'll deserve it. Was this cheating? Top comments. Commenter 1. Tell your wife exactly as it is. No, it's not cheating, but God help you if Amy confesses first. And then you are capital FF ed, bro. You cannot ever be in isolation with Amy ever again. She loses that right permanently. No car rides alone. Nope, permanently off the table. Commenter 2. Regardless of whose fault it was, your wife deserves to know. And it would be better that it came from you, so it doesn't come out any other way than the truth. Not saying Amy would lie and say you initiated it, but it would be best to have all your ducks in a row, and not have any discrepancy in the truth. Because if Amy was the type of woman capable of kissing her friend's husband, then what else could she be capable of? Commenter 3. A kiss without consent is wrong. Addressing it openly with your wife makes it clear you value her trust over avoiding awkwardness. Commenter 4. How is not telling your wife even on the table? You want to protect your wife's friend more than your wife. Commenter 5. Every day, every hour, every minute that you continue to not tell your wife is betraying your wife and your marriage. Do with that what you will. Update. 4 days later. Update. My wife's 28F best friend 24F decided to kiss me 26M. Update. If you haven't read the previous post, it's clear that I had a lot to take away from this situation and work on. To clear up a couple of questions and comments. Our friend group has a 13-year age gap from youngest to oldest. Most of us have or had siblings in the group, which is why we have such a difference in ages. I am autistic and have an issue with dealing with most uncomfortable situations. The kiss was on the lips, and yes, I froze in the situation. It didn't come across to me as anything other than odd. I thought about telling my wife right away, but was uncomfortable doing so in front of the others, so I didn't at the time. It was playing on my mind for the rest of game night, and had me unsure what it was, and if it was important to tell her. After the initial post, I left work early to inform my wife what happened on Friday. After 2 long hours, we had a few things to deal with. We agreed I was wrong for not telling her about it right away, which is no surprise, but she was thankful I told her. We promised to work on our relationship and communication. After work the following day, following a commenter's advice, we took a trip to get out of town for a few days and go camping. This has helped us reconnect and reminded us of why we got married in the first place. We got back to town today, and my wife had invited Amy over in the evening to discuss what happened. My wife decided that she wanted to further talk about what happened in person after she spoke to her initially on Monday. The conversation on Monday with Amy following your advice, I suggested that my wife call Amy to confirm my story, so she did. Amy immediately confessed before my wife even had a chance to confront her fully. Amy said that she had been struggling recently and she needed support. The failed date and seeing me play the father figure, along with seeming to care about her day, made her feel wanted. She said that she felt awful immediately, and that is why she rushed home. This call went on for nearly an hour, where we discussed how we felt hurt as a couple and how we need to set some boundaries. We agreed that we would be stepping back from helping with her and the kid for the time being, but agreed that if we were to help again, my wife would deal with most of it. My wife and I agreed that I wouldn't be left alone with Amy for some time to be sure, and this includes games nights. Amy said that she understood how we felt and continued to show remorse. So my wife, for some reason, invited her over today, Friday, so the two of them spoke for a few hours today about everything. They went back over the boundaries and what was expected if Amy was going to remain friends with us. Against what I think is the right choice, my wife and Amy are going to continue as friends for now. We are still going to help out, but the interactions that I have with Amy will be limited, as I am still not 100% sure of the whole situation. I know many of you will be against this, but we have set some ground rules on how often we help out. Amy agreed that looking for a partner right now will be the last thing on her list, and she will be focusing on her child, work, and mental health. Amy is already in counseling and is likely to need more time. We agreed that this was something not to be discussed with the wider friend group, as we are sure they all have very different opinions, and we all want to keep the peace. One key boundary that I think has made a massive difference on the outcome of this, and hopefully helped Amy understand the situation and how I felt, is that I won't be carpooling with Amy to work when she goes back to university in September. I work in the next city over, not far from the university. Before all this happened, I had agreed to take Amy into the city on my way to work for the few days she has in-person lessons, as I will already be making the trip. And especially in the winter, the roads can get dangerous. I feel bad for this, but it was one of the things my wife had reminded me of, that I would have been alone with her in the car for some time. Depending on how things go, I might be willing to offer this again, but I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do. My wife has gone to bed early tonight, as camping takes a toll on the body, and I am left wondering about this whole thing, and hopefully things will go back to some sort of normal soon. Our marriage seems to be still intact, and we have shared a lot and discussed the feelings we have both been having about other issues in our relationship. Our marriage isn't perfect, but we are going to work on it and promise not to let things like this happen again. Turns out, when you communicate effectively, you both find out the things that annoyed us about the relationship, which made the whole kiss issue the least concerning. We both have a lot to work on when it comes to our relationship as a whole, but it is something we are both willing to work on. I am not sure if keeping Amy as a friend was a good idea, but I will have to see how this goes before approaching my wife. Was this the right thing to do? TLDR. My wife forgave me for not telling her about the kiss, and we decided to keep her as a friend for now. Top comments. Commenter 1. I think you need to communicate to your wife that a friendship with Amy isn't something you want to continue with. That when she kissed you, it made continuing to be her friend impossible. Your wife seems to want to continue this friendship. However, if roles were reversed and a man had kissed her without her consent, and you wanted to remain friends with that person, I imagine she would have a problem with this. Amy crossed a physical boundary that could have caused major problems in your marriage, as well as actually moved on you in a highly inappropriate way. Just because Amy is a woman and you are a man doesn't make this any less of a saw against you. I know your wife feels for Amy and considered her a friend, but she isn't one. Commenter 2. You have a hard boundary. You don't want any friendship with Amy. Your wife is violating that boundary. Honestly, your wife sounds like a pushover. This whole friendship group sounds exhausting. Commenter 3. I'm glad your wife didn't hold the situation against you, but I agree that Amy should be cut off from your lives. I hope this doesn't blow up in your face, OP. Commenter 4. Stay away from Amy. No communication, no phones, block on social media if you can, no carpooling, limit talking to her kid, and focus on your wife. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.